Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. I'm back here at Mecum Auto Auctions in Kissimmee, Florida, walking around, and I came across one of my favorite Fox body Mustangs of all time. This is an all-original 1989 Saleen SSC. But before we get into this road racing Fox body, let's talk about what's going on here. Steve Saleen, he is synonymous with Ford Mustangs like peanut butter and jelly, like a pepperoni and cheese on a pizza. That's what he brings to the table. And not only was he about bringing performance, but he himself was a race car driver in the SCCA showroom stock class. Now the great news is he wanted to create products for you and I, the car enthusiasts, that we could actually enjoy, take to the track, drive nicely on the road, and that's what this SSC is all about. It's one of just 161 examples where Steve took everything that he knows, massaged the suspension, the engine, the interior, the shifting, the whole 9 yards to really give you a performance product. Now, what's great about Saleen's is that they actually get their own manufacturing number. So that means they are an actual manufacturer compared to a custom body shop or something like that where they do add-ons. The Fox body Mustang is so iconic though, and so important for so many reasons. One of the biggest reasons, it really brought performance back to the Mustang platform, because after the Mustang 2, performance really wasn't a thing. But boy, oh boy, that 5-liter, bringing that V8 power. This one by 1989 had fuel injection. The name of the game was changing and power was coming back. So let's go ahead, let's find out if this is the ultimate when it comes to Fox body Mustangs, this Saleen SSC. Right off the bat, I love the colors. The white with the white wheels, truly iconic to the Saleen brand. Now when we start at the front of the business, what are we working with on headlights on the Fox body? You actually have your stock headlights set up. There weren't any LEDs back in '89, there weren't any projector beam, xenon, nothing like that. Straight up headlights, stock hood, but what's all Steve Saleen is this whole front fascia. So you got the white with the gray, the number plate on there, 174. I love the way that they have the openings that he did, everything integrated nicely. So you're gonna have your brake cooling, and then as we come across the center, I love that lower lip drops down, stops air from going underneath, and brings air right to the larger radiator that he put on his Saleen Mustangs. Of course, you're gonna get that horizontal grille opening with the Ford badge. Back then, they didn't put the Mustang badge up front on the Fox body Mustang. And then as we rise up onto the hood, really simple. The way it curves down, you have a slight rise all the way towards the windshield. And then as we come around the bend, what are we working with? Wheel and tire setup. Now, Steve Saleen not only changed the exterior, but he also modified wheels, brakes, and what's underneath the fenders. Let's take a look at these wheels. Simple 5-spoke design. That is the Saleen branding there. That's his badge with, you can see how he took the S and made it look like a road course. Really cool, because he was all about road racing. 16-inch wheel, the white, like I said, with the white vehicle. Brakes were simple slotting rotors. We're not looking at massive Brembos, but he did work, of course, with the pads, with the brake lines, and then all the suspension work. Changed the springs, changed the shock absorbers, even stiffened up the chassis underneath to make this Fox body handle like none other before. Now, as we go down the fender, you can see the diagonal Saleen stripes. That is something that is unique to the Saleen branding. That lower side sill, that is all his creation, gives us that nice flow. It's all about aerodynamic efficiency. The car actually sits a little bit lower, which is nice. And then all his vehicles would have the Saleen badging across the windshield, down the side. I just love the overall proportion. Sometimes people who don't get Fox bodies, they don't understand the shape, but I really dig it, obviously, growing up in the 1980s and into the early 90s. This one is a hatchback. You could get a notchback, or you could get a hatchback. He used the hatchback version. Coming towards the rear, massive rear quarter window. Look how big this quarter window is. They actually had to black out the glass because of how large it is. Coming towards the rear, let's look at the rear tire and wheel setup. So you can see just the way the car sits is absolutely perfect. 245 on the width. That's a 50 series sidewall. So think about road racing this thing with that type of flex from the sidewall. And then my favorite part is coming out to the rear. You get this massive whale tail trunk lid, or I should say hatch lid spoiler. Totally functional, gonna give us gobs of downforce. You can see the taillight setup is stock Fox body on this vehicle, the Saleen SSC badge. Lower rear bumper area with the diffuser. You can see the custom exhaust that we're running. But why don't we go ahead? We talked about what's happening out back. Let's pop the hood and see the heart of our SSC. All right, guys, we got the hood popped. Still, to this day, we have the prop rod. So I'm not even gonna look at that right now, but what I'm looking is at that massive strut tower brace that Steve Saleen put in place to actually stiffen up the front end of the business. You could check out that intake plenum, classic 5-liter fuel injected intake plenum. Also, check out the tops of the shock absorbers here. You can see the work that he did, the availability of changing the camber and caster, and then everything else on this car is original. So what are we looking at here? You're looking at a 302, that 5-liter 302 V8 naturally aspirated engine, 292 horsepower, 325 pound-feet of torque. Well, if you're wondering what was a stock Mustang back then, 225 horsepower. It's got a close ratio 5-speed manual transmission, 355 gears. He put the SVO brakes, enlarged the discs, and really made a special car. But looking at this engine compartment, I can't remember all the days that I spent helping my buddies out with their 5-liter Mustangs, but they never had a Saleen Mustang. But why don't we go ahead, let's get to the interior and see what's in the store for this SSC. All right, guys, we're inside this 1989 Saleen SSC. I'm telling you, just sitting here, it smells like 1989 in here, bringing back a lot of memories, especially because I had so many friends in high school and college that had Fox body Mustangs. But let's see what it was like in 1989 in a Saleen Mustang. To the door panels, you'll notice that vinyl material, that's not leather, it's vinyl. They brought the outside colors to the interior, and you know what? I'm not gonna zonk a damn thing on the interior because this is pure 1989. Now, when you go from the door panel to the dash, you'll notice that Steve Saleen, the man himself, signed the glove box door. Nice extra touch for whoever's gonna purchase this vehicle. You have the Mustang badging up there, looking real slick. You have your Twinkie tray. This is the official Mustang Twinkie tray. This just brings back so many memories. Manual AC knobs, and then it's not 1989 if you don't have an Alpine removable face CD player in your vehicle with the Pioneer graphic equalizer. I was gonna say a graphic equalizer, but you know what? There's no graphics there. It's all manual controls. You have a number plate from Saleen. The original number plate is there. And what really makes the magic happen on this is this amazing close ratio 5-speed gearbox. I remember my buddy Chris would let me drive his notchback Fox body from time to time. And I'm telling you right now, going from second to third was a chore. But with this close ratio 5-speed, look at that. Second, third, second, third. I'm ready for the racetrack. Let's do it. I hope Chris is watching this right now. You have your e-brake. You have a little bit of a cigarette holder here, and then you're going to be able to stiffen up that Monroe suspension. This isn't electronic. You actually turn the knob to adjust those pressures, and then of course you could adjust your mirrors. This is a rear seat delete, and they took out the whole glove box area. So if you notice, it just slides all the way back. No rear seats, custom seats for the passenger and driver. They hollow out the headrest with this netting. You have the roll bar, very nice extra touch, special to the Saleen. And really the bolstering is pretty aggressive, but the seats are comfortable, which is kind of crazy. All manual controls, but you know what? The last thing I want to show you is probably something that you never, maybe you haven't seen in a long time, you've never seen. Check this out. What is that? That's actually a map light. So instead of actually having your map lights up here, they give you this single map light and you can twist it and turn it any which way depending on what you're looking at. You're like, oh, where'd my Twinkie go? I gotta find it. So you do like a little searchlight system, but we'll tuck that back in. Why don't you come over here to this really weird looking steering wheel? I wanna show you behind the business end of the Saleen Mustang. All right, guys, behind the business end of this Saleen SSC. Now, before we go any further, I wanna show you something, but before I show it to you, Back when I was in high school, I remember I was so happy. One year I bought myself, after, you know, saving some allowance money and money working at my dad's shop, I bought myself some Reebok pumps. They were actually basketball shoes that you would pump up to increase how stiff they were on your feet. Well, check this out. On this Saleen SSC, you have this air bulb right here that you pump up. You could actually increase the bolstering by squeezing on that, and you have one for the passenger and the driver. How 1989 is that? But wait, there's more. I got a set of Ginsu knives for you. No, not really. But if you were around in 1989, you would get that joke. What I do have, though, is check out this steering wheel. No airbag, simple cruise control buttons here, and just such a thin steering wheel on this Saleen Mustang. I'm kind of bummed out. I'm actually going to zonk that it's not a Saleen branded horn button. What is up with that, Steve? Oh, I see what you did. Looking at the gauges, you have Saleen all over the gauges, the tach, the speedometer. That's basically your stock Fox body gauge cluster, and what they did is just upgraded to the Saleen name and some different colors and fonts and whatnot. But it would have been nice to have a race-inspired steering wheel. But why don't we go ahead? We've talked so much about this, I think it's about time that we wrap it up. All right, guys, it's been another great day here at the Mecum Auto Auction. Definitely an experience. Highly recommend you coming. Even if you're not going to bid on anything, it literally is a car show, and you're going to find some rare stuff like this Saleen SSC. Is it the most iconic of the Fox bodies? You know what? It's definitely up there. It is one of my personal top 3. Really, to be honest, personal top 3, and such a standout. I'm so glad I could bring it to you. If you want to keep seeing rare cars like these on Rady's Rise, leave a comment in the comment section. If you're new and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Rady's Rise family. If you want to help us keep making great content just for you on the channel, click the link in the description. Get yourself some Rady's Rise merch. Got to give it up to the queen of the camera. Lori's working that camera like a champ. Show her some love in the comment section. She was loving this Fox body because she smelled 1989 again, and it just brought her right back. So thank you, Lori, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.